So our latest guest on the Not Too Good podcast is Sheryl Crow, who we all know and hopefully really love. She wrote a song back in the 90s called Redemption Day. And then Johnny Cash heard that song and he's like, hey, could I sing that song too?
You know, Sheryl Crow is one of the ones that make me nervous. I don't get nervous often.
Right.
And meeting her, I was really on edge. And that day, traffic was terrible. I was running a little bit late, like 1 minute late.
That's right. So Sheryl Crow on our latest edition of the Not Too Good podcast. Hello, Sheryl. How are you? We're the Not Too Good part. You're going to be fine.
Oh, well, I don't know. This is my first time on radio, so...
And I was going to apologize because our co-host Daniel couldn't be bothered to be here on time.
Wow.
Daniel, meet Sheryl Crow.
Wow, Daniel, did you ever sleep? What's up, Dan?
I know.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What would it take for you to be here on time?
He
I
had
was
a
told
late
to be
night
here at
last
9:30. I got up at 6 o'clock and I walked my dog and I listened to Sheryl Crow. I listened to you on a podcast. I listened to Redemption Road. So I've had a great morning.
Yeah.
Redemption Day? Yes,
I'm sorry.
Wow.
So you listened to the wrong
off to a
song.
great
I haven't put that
start.
one out yet.
I think it was.
No, I did. I listened to your version. I listened to Mr. Johnny Cash's and the duet.
Yes. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So
What would it take for you to get to work on time? Like a Monarch? Would that be enough?
I'm actually early. I was told to be at 9:30.
Okay.
Traffic terrible.
But you look great.
Thank you.
Yes.
What?
Thank
She
you
didn't say
very
that to me.
I can tell he's late because he stayed home and coiffed and...
I did. I took my time. I was very nervous, so I took a little extra time this morning. I got up at 6 o'clock.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what time I got up to.
Such a beautiful day today, too.
Gorgeous. I was downstairs making chocolate chip pancakes for my 11-year-old.
Wow, what time do you have to get up to do that kind of stuff?
6:10.
Whoa, that's a little early.
That's early.
Are the kids up at 6:10 or do you have to wake them
No,
up?
heck no.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like,
So you get up before
I
they
don't want
get
to
up.
go to school. Why do we have to go to school? Because I'll go to jail if you don't.
Yeah. You don't think you'd do good in prison?
No, I'm not a prison person.
We were looking, you had, tweeted at Elon Musk and Mary found some of these responses. Do you read what people are saying
Oh
to
my
you? They're
gosh,
so funny.
hilarious.
Some of these. I
Somebody
know.
said, I asked what I should do, and some of them were like, find a 6-year-old. I was like, yeah, thanks.
The story was your screen was dark and then you had
Yes.
tweeted.
My
and then,
screen went black.
Right.
I'm heading down Hillsborough, getting ready to get on 440.
Mm-hmm.
And my screen went black, mainly because I tried to turn it up because I was wearing my Rockstar sunglasses. And I hit the wrong button, and it went totally black. And then I'm just screwed. So I pull over into the church parking lot, and I tweet, does anybody know what the heck to do when your screen goes black? Should I just return my car and get my money back? And
I know they were saying like Control-Alt-Delete, it's fine, or just just bang on it basically.
some of them were like, is your Tesla your favorite mistake?
Right. I saw that.
Maybe a change
so
would do
funny.
you good.
Yeah.
Yes, I got a bunch of little smart
Wow, that
alecks
was
that
pretty
follow
funny.
me. And then one of them said something about, yeah, that one was the best. Something about you have a Tesla and the screen is black. And you can't get down the street. Something about, isn't that ironic?
Yeah, right,
and
right.
we had to respond, wrong pop star.
Yes, the other one. Yeah.
It's like 10,000 cars when all you need is a bike.
Yes, it's like 10,000 cars when all you need is a bike.
What's it like to tweet and people actually pay attention? Because you get the attention of Elon Musk when you tweet.
Do you know the biggest response I ever had was when somebody responded to a Kid Rock thing saying, oh, Sheryl Crow would roll over in her grave.
Oh.
And so we went into the studio. We were laughing so hard. So we went into the studio and we wrote a song, I'm Not Dead. Dude, I'm Not Dead.
Yeah, you're still with us, Sheryl.
Yeah, and it was the biggest. I mean, I gained 5,000 people that day.
Really?
I'm like, wow, I can write serious songs, put them out. Crickets, and then I write, dude, I'm not dead, and suddenly everybody's interested.
I bet they felt awful about that. If I have to hear somebody murder Picture at karaoke anymore, I don't know what I'm going to do. That is the most popular karaoke song I think I've ever heard.
You know what? I'm just going to tell you, one of my biggest sources of pride is having the number 2 karaoke song in the nation.
That's number 2?
Yeah.
What's number 1?
Freebird.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, I like yours better.
My dad always wants me to sing Picture with him, and I have to sing your part.
Oh, no, that's actually very alarming.
Yeah, it's rough.
That's awkward.
Now,
yeah.
So, we've been doing a lot of research on you. Googling you. I hope that's not uncomfortable for you.
No, I have no skeletons in my past. In fact, if I want to run for president, I can.
You could. We were talking about
Pay my taxes.
You might be the
Don't
only
lie.
one. Because in 20 years, who's going to be able to run for president? Because I did a lot of stupid things as a teenager. They're not documented online somewhere. How are we going to get through this?
I think in 20 years, everyone will have done everything. So then you just
so
we
it's not
cut
a
to
big
the
deal.
chase.
It's like, oh, yeah.
We cut to the chase.
Well, who didn't do that? So you had taken a trip to Bosnia that really affected you.
Yes.
And you came home and you started writing.
Mm-hmm.
And Redemption Day was the product of that.
Yes, it was. And actually, it was the product of going to Bosnia. I went over, I think it was 95 or 96, with the then First Lady, Hillary Clinton. And she was going over to speak with women and children from this war-torn area. And I was playing for the troops, which I'd never done. And so we're flying and, riding a helicopter and seeing this barren land that's still smoking in some areas. And it just really was eye-opening. I've never experienced any kind of war in my lifetime. I was really young when Vietnam was ending. And I came home and all that was on TV instead of Bosnia was Rwanda and this massive genocide. And I was just really affected by what is it that makes us or motivates us to get involved in this war and not that one. We're not saving this whole country of people who have always lived in Rwanda and who are being slaughtered. But we're in Bosnia. And so I wrote the song, and obviously we have reasons for going into places, and generally it's based on oil and our position in certain strongholds in Europe, and it just seemed very inhuman. And that was the outcome of that was Redemption Day. Yeah,
it does sort of make you question like American foreign policy, because even in the Iraq War, during that time, there was a genocide happening in Darfur that we didn't really hear about and we didn't have any involvement in.
Right. Yeah. So, it's interesting. I think now with 24-hour news and constant pundency and people talking about, why we do this and why we don't do that. And it's all very confusing. And if you just really consider throughout history what has been the basis for a lot of our decisions, it becomes apparent that it's not necessarily about humankind or about humanity at large or about preserving the future for our youngest citizens. It's generally based in greed. And this is like the most downer radio interview I've ever had. I'm going to go out and throw myself in front of a truck.
I was having such a fun day.
I know. Don't you wish you would have stayed home?
No. I'm so glad to be here.
If you throw yourself in front of a truck, you're not going to be able to tweet that you're alive anymore, though.
I know, but just think of the following I'll gain.
Yeah.
Just think how much my record or set will sell. No, I'm kidding. That's terrible.
So you said you could get into politics if you wanted. Have you ever considered it?
No, I mean I feel like I don't know. It's there's so much noise out there, and I feel like if anybody is approaching life from an emotional standpoint, that music has more of an impact than having somebody talk down to you about what you should and shouldn't do and what you should think and what you should believe. And I feel like there's still a great worth to music and the impact that can have. I mean, if nothing else, at least it gives us a sense that we are all part of a collective.
Do you ever sit back at your house and go, man, I'm Sheryl Crow?
I'm Sheryl Crow, bitch. I don't think you can say that. Can you say that on the radio?
Yeah,
really.
I think you can. Can we say bitch, Gator? Sure, yeah. Go right.
Can I tell my funny story about my bass player almost missing a flight to Europe?
Please.
He's waiting for a cab driver to come. He's in Atlanta. It's freezing outside. Cab driver pulls up and he's got like boxer shorts on and like a really, hardly any clothes on. He's like, it's like summer. He throws his bass in the trunk, gets in the car, and goes, guys driving to the airport. And my bass player's like, please don't talk to me. And the bass player is like, so you play music? Yeah, I play music. Who do you play for? I play bass for this girl named Sheryl Crow. Sheryl Crow? I love that bitch.
That's a high compliment.
I know. So that's the way I answer most of my questions.
Guys, keeping it real.
I'm Sheryl Crow, bitch. Anyway, what was your question?
So Redemption Day, and then Johnny Cash starts calling you?
Well, so yeah, I mean, this is quite a few years later. I did put that song out, and it was not a single. A lot of people didn't hear it, although back then albums sold as albums. There was no streaming or anything, so some people did hear it. Cut to June Carter, who was a dear friend. She passed away, and a couple months after June passed, Johnny's son-in-law called me and said, I've played your song Redemption Day for my father-in-law, and he loves it and wants to record it, which was really shocking to me because I wouldn't have imagined that he would want to record. And having seen him at June's funeral and just how vulnerable, and just you could see how sort of devastated he was. I wouldn't have imagined him going back to the studio that soon, but he loved it. He got on the phone. He asked me all these questions about different lyrics, different lines in it. And that obviously was just a perfect illustration of why we loved him and why we believed what he had to say. And when he sang something, he had to believe it. Otherwise, we wouldn't believe it. And so he did record it, and he sent me his version of it on a cassette tape before CDs. And he asked me what I thought about it. And it was just really a humbling experience to hear him singing these words and knowing, who and how he was all through our history, even during the Vietnam War, and just what an outspoken American he was. And then he said, this is going to be the cornerstone of my new record. And then he passed away a few months later. So cut to, we went out and toured with Rascal Flatts when we were promoting the Feels Like Home record. And we made a video of him with his vocal, singing the song. And so we would cut to that during my singing it. In the audience, you could just feel this huge just weight. People would actually become very emotional hearing him sing it. And so when it came time to make this record, I asked his family permission to use his vocal and Rick Rubin, and we recreated it. And it's so much heavier now for what we're going through and who we are becoming, at this moment in our evolution. So it's heavy to hear him singing that.
Yeah, so you've been doing this at shows for a while, but now we'll all be able to see the video today.
Yeah, and it's a totally different version. It's a much more somber version. It doesn't sound anything like the old version. And in some ways, I think it's the way it would originally should have been put out. I think it found its proper production for what we're going through now. And hopefully Johnny was looking down and feeling like, yes, this is the moment for this song.
But what a cool thing to have somebody like Johnny Cash in a way sort of give you a blessing or like something that you had created. That must have just been unbelievable.
I'm telling you, there's nothing that I can even... I've played with the Rolling Stones, and that was amazing for a kid who just grew up like sniffing the album covers. I was just so into them, and I was into Bob Dylan, and I was into... Aretha Franklin. I was into so many of these great heroes, but for Johnny to actually take a poem that I created and say that he believed it and wanted to put that message out in his own way, that message of hope, that surpasses all other experiences in my career, for sure.
And you grew up a big Johnny Cash fan.
Yeah, I did. So did what's weird about it is my mom was, my grandfather was. It's weird to find an artist that 2 or 3 generations all are equally passionate about.
Yeah.
Now, I watched the video today. Let me say, it's beautifully shot and edited, all these scenes throughout history. And did you have anything to do with that?
I would love to say that I did the video, and
you can say that.
Yeah, I did. I made that video.
The whole thing?
I spent a lot of time on it.
Did you make it with an iPhone?
I made it on an iPhone, just like I did a few edits. And no, Sean Silva, who is brilliant, he wrote as soon as he heard the song, he wrote a treatment and sent it back. And I feel like it resonated with him in the way that I hope it will resonate with other people. And that is that the song is a song of hope, but it is a little bit of a conviction in that it takes you through history, and it shows what it must be like for a child to witness what we've been through with a child's brain, and try to find their way through that. And it is very humbling and very convicting. When you consider the way we interact now and the fact that our kids are watching this, they are privy to it, and it will forever affect how they communicate with each other, how they treat each other, their level of empathy and compassion. And so we have this unbelievable, huger than life person or persona, man in black, strong American, outspoken, flipping off the camera, total outlaw. And yet we know throughout his course of his own evolution that he came to a point where he was so vulnerable that he gave his life over to the Lord. You know, he suffered every temptation that all mankind does, and yet he found his way. And so he's singing this song. He almost, in some ways, amplifies our history in that we're going through some serious feet to the fire moment right now of like, who are we? And are we putting our best foot forward? Are we showing what freedom actually looks like? And, you know, it's really heavy to hear him singing that.
You mentioned your 11-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
When you get those tough questions from an 11-year-old who now, you know, you used to could like gloss over things, but now 11-year-old could research any aspect of history. Like, how do you explain what's going on to a
It's really, you know, it's been
now.
difficult. You know, if you're a parent and one of your sole purposes is to tell your children that truth matters, that you never lie, how confusing is it now? And my kids ask me a lot of questions about, you know, what I stand for. But I mean, even, you know, on our way to school last week, my almost 9-year-old asked me, Mom, do you know people that you think are going to go to hell? I'm just like,
Whoa,
wow.
What a question on the way to school.
He's always
Wow.
been that analytical kid. You know, he goes to a Christian school, and I just have to say, you know, thank God I don't have. It's not up to me about who goes to heaven or hell, but every decision we make in life, hopefully, will come from a place of having God inform us. You know, and what God wants us to do is love our neighbor. And that means neighbors all the way across the world that we'll never meet, you know, and that hopefully that shapes our hearts, that shapes our level of compassion and our level of empathy. Even if you send a text to somebody that's mean and you don't have that immediate response from them that it hurt them, hopefully what will combat that is a heart that doesn't want to send it in the first place. So, you know, and the strongest thing that we can do is model for our children. So it's one of the reasons I don't let my kids watch the news. Those people that are modeling what ugliness looks like, I don't want them modeling for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's part and parcel of the whole idea is that there is a redemption day, and that can be every day. Every day of your life, you have a chance to be redemptive, and you have a chance to say you're sorry, and you have a chance to be forgiven.
Would you like to tell her you're sorry for being late today?
I'm sorry I was late.
And you know what? I want you to know.
And I'm sorry. Also, I said Redemption Road. That is a movie.
And I just want you to know, I
what
totally forgive you.
Yeah.
It's also been called Redemption Song, which was a Bob Marley song. So I just want
Bob Marley, I love that bitch.
I love that bitch. You are good. You're good. I love you. Oh, you're so forgiven.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Sheryl Crow, check it out. Redemption Day. We can see the video today.
Awesome.
Thanks for spending some of your time with us.
Thanks for having me.
Not too good. No.